I'm for improving the conditions of service of the health workers. I'm for reviewing their salary scale. But we cannot have parity, because that will lead to another round of argument. We cannot solve a problem to create another one. The doctor scale starts around the 9 of the USU scale, or what we call CONHES, as against the COMES. But when you look at the two scales, what USU is asking for is to say, look, whatever is there, we want to have it on the CONHES scale. And we said, no, go and negotiate yours. You can even ask for something higher than the doctors. I'll be talking. But to say you must have naira for naira, the same. I don't know what else, because he said it's equity. I don't know what that means. To me, it is the same. Maybe we should just be honest with ourselves and say it's the same. You are asking for the same template, word for word, figure for figure.
Well, Mrs. Clara Dike joins us now. She is the Special Advisor Technical to the Ministry of Labour. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you.
Why is this negotiation taking so long? First and foremost, they say that when they issued their notice of strike, it took forever for government to even take note. I think it was when they eventually started the strike that government eventually started inviting them to the negotiation table. Why is it happening that way with Johesu?
It didn't quite happen that way. You know, this particular issue of Johesu and their pointing disputes started way back years ago. And the recent strike, the issues that led to the recent strike, really started last year, 2017. And when they issued this particular strike to go on strike, they were engaged. They were engaged.
At what point were they engaged?
They were engaged during the time of notice. We allowed the Ministry of Health, because we have what we call internal machinery. It's when the internal machinery fails, that's when the Ministry of Labour will apprehend and intervene, and will call for a meeting.
So when did the Ministry of Labour intervene?
We intervened, I think, on the day before the strike commenced. We now called them when we now noticed that the internal machinery had broken down completely, that they could not make a headway, and there was a strike looming. So we had to call them for conciliation. And we have been on them, on that particular conciliation machinery, since that time up to last night. And we're meeting again today.
So what has been the outcome of the negotiations so far?
Yeah, social dialogue is a continuous event. You know, it's not something it's not mechanical. It's something, it's dialogue, like the name implies. And it's based on give and take. The first meeting, a table was presented to the government. We are the conciliators in this matter, though federal government, but we are conciliators. The employer is the Ministry of Health. So by conciliating...
I'm going to ask you to please hold your thoughts. I'll let you finish it. Finish it when we come back from this break. Please stay with us.
When you say Johesu, it means Joint Health Sector Union. It's an illegal body. Quote me. I think you guys have quoted me before. You have quoted me before. It is illegal because it is not registered. Membership of that body includes the pharmacists, in fact, all other health workers, excluding medical doctors. We are not saying we are excluded, and that's what makes it illegal. But they are full of envy, rivalry, and lies. Just yesterday, their leadership came to the air to attack doctors. This strike they are planning for tomorrow or today is against medical doctors. It's preventing them from earning the same salary as doctors. All over the world, there's relativity package for medical workers, different from other health workers. If you live here, if you leave Nigeria today to other countries, doctors are advantage position.
Mrs. Clara Dike, who is Special Advisor Technical to the Minister of Labour, is still with us in the studio. Just before we went on break, you explaining where you were in negotiations with your history.
Okay. Yeah. As I was saying, we started with a table. They presented a table to the federal government. And that particular table would have cost the federal government 22 billion. And you know, in negotiation, you must put into consideration the ability of the employer to pay. As a conciliator, you have to consider that. And based on that particular element of ability to pay, GHOSU and the National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission were asked to now bring up another table, more reasonable and more affordable to the government. That table was brought up and presented to GHOSU. And they didn't accept that table. According to them, using their words, the table was dead on arrival. So,
how much was that table going to cost the federal government?
Far less than 22 billion.
Yes, but how much was it going to cost?
I don't have the figure of it, but National Salaries, Incomes and Wages will have that. But far less and affordable for the federal government to bear. Because when you're talking about this sums of money, you have to also add it to what is already being spent monthly as salary. It's not just that particular figure, that's the adjustment figure, the upward adjustment figure. And again, during conciliation, we have tried to impress on GHOSU leadership that they should try to bargain for themselves and not keep comparing to the medical doctors, because that's where the problem is. You don't do your collective bargaining based on another field.
Yeah, but if they are coming from, from what Mr. Bill Belemoye, stated here, there seems to be a history of how, the salaries over time have progressed. What seems to have happened is that there seems to now be a deviation from what used to be, and hence the, the comparison they now finally see between doctors and other health workers. Do you think, in your own assessment, as somebody who is a technical advisor to the Minister of Labour, is that fair in labour matters?
As an industrial relations practitioner, which I am, I'm speaking from that point of view. What you have laid down now is from the point you need the technical expertise of the National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission. Because last night, because we were at a meeting from around 5 in the evening until about 10 in the night. And during that meeting, these figures were displayed. And they took a historical perspective to it. They had to narrate from 1991 to when they had the reform, salary reform. And at a point in time, the Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission had to explain that what they were looking at was the salary for houseman, the new entrance to the medical field. And also they had to explain a lot of things to them. That it wasn't actually that they had that edge over the medical doctor ab initio, and sometime down in history line, it was distorted. They had to explain to them how assist to conciliate on that. After the technical expertise was laid down, we had to conciliate and urge them to start negotiating on their own for themselves, not keep comparing.